Grill Sergeant here, and today we are going to be using the Pit Boss Pro Series Elite Series 6 vertical smoker. I know a lot of you have been waiting for this video. This smoker does not disappoint. We're going to go over some tips and tricks. I'm going to show you how I set up my racks for smoking, and we are going to be doing some Texas barbecue today. This one is going to be an awesome episode. If you are contemplating getting this Pit Boss vertical smoker, this is definitely going to be a video you're going to want to check out. Now, if you haven't seen the unboxing video, I will link it up so you can see actually how this thing is assembled. But let's do a quick overview of the smoker. So here is the vertical smoker. This thing is huge. It does have a side shelf with the built-in computer, and what I really like about this one is the side shelf can lift up and then fold to the side, and the display will read vertical. So that is pretty handy. For a side shelf, you do have a built-in light here. There are two latches right here that will keep the smoker door closed. Inside here, you do have 5 racks. You have the grease deflector, you have a water pan in there, burn pot is at the very bottom. A large glass window right here, which this thing produces a ton of smoke, so you can already see one of the issues. This large glass mirror starts getting hard to see through, so we're actually going to be trying something out, see if we can clear that up. And then down here, you do have your pull-out ash pot that you can dump the contents in, put some fresh pellets in if you want, put it back in, and you are ready to go. On the back side, this is where your pellets are stored. And then you do have a glass sight in here to show you how many pellets you have left during the smoke. All right, let's clean this front glass door. All right, so I've been a huge fan of this new Pit Boss cleaner and degreaser. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start spraying this on. And this stuff smells really good too. We're just gonna let this sit on for a few, let it do its thing. It says environmentally safe, non-toxic, biodegradable, natural extracts, environmentally friendly, non-corrosive, non-filming, safe, and simple. Let it do its thing and we'll check back in about 2 minutes. It's been about a minute and we're gonna come in here and we are going to start wiping. Not very hard either. And would you look at that? That is pretty darn impressive. Not bad at all for something you're like, hey, I just want to actually see what I'm smoking. Now, if you're like me and you're like, dude, I like this thing spotless, this is where you get yourself a razor scraper. This will not scratch the glass at all, but it will come in here and lift everything that didn't pull up. And what you can do is you can start pretty much from the bottom. You can just go all the way up. And that will take off anything that the rag didn't pull up. The last thing I'm going to do is this is a mixture of 50% water and 50% vinegar. This helps clean and make it streak-free. And now you can see what is inside our smoker. You know, they say if you're looking, you ain't cooking. Well, now we can actually look and it's still gonna be cooking now that we can actually see through the glass sight. So now let's open her up and I'm gonna show you some tips and tricks that I do for the inside to keep this smoker clean while in use. All right, so down here at the very bottom, you do have your water pan. I'll usually fill this up before the start of a smoke. And the purpose of the water pan is it helps stabilize the internal temperature of the smoker. And so yeah, that water really helps with that. Usually right when I start seeing minor temp swings, I pretty much know that the water pan is dry, so I can refill it. So this is your grease deflector. If grease drips down in here, it sends it into the back of the smoker, and there is a catch on the back of the smoker. Now, I've seen some people wrap this in foil, and you can kind of like cut slits. But I found something that actually works a little bit better. I found this 18 by 13 aluminum serving tray. And it actually fits in here pretty good. And what I'll do is I'll wrap this in foil. And so this, if I'm doing, ribs, pulled pork, brisket, a lot of those droppings can then drop into this. And since this is covered with aluminum foil, the aluminum foil will catch. Then I can basically take off the foil from what it caught, and then the smoker, for the most part, keeps clean. I don't have to put the foil onto the deflector just because this is catching it. The last smoke I did, what it caught, and then I can take this off, put some new foil on it. Now, if it is a long overnight cook, I might swap out to something like this. This you can actually fill up with water. This water pan down here probably will run out in 3 to 4 hours. And if I have this filled with water and this filled with water, I can pretty much get a good night's sleep. And so I'll have the meat resting on top of it. The water also helps the smoke bind to the meat. So I'm either going to be using these for the quick cooks, mainly like ribs or anything that's kind of like under 8 hours. And then for the longer overnight cooks, I'll switch and start using these aluminum pans, and they'll also act as the water tray as well. And that's pretty much it. These grates, you can slide them out. They aren't actually going to hold. And there's some times where just to make room, you can stack grates on top of grates. And that, so if I'm putting a brisket here, even though a brisket can fit in between these grates, I'm just going to move this up. It's going to give me more room to spritz down and to take care of it. Now, if you are catering, this does give you ample space to where if you are putting, pork butts, brisket, racks of ribs, you can load this thing up top to bottom. Let me know in the comment section if you want to see this thing loaded out. But, ooh, Lord, that should come with the Patreon because, man, the meat prices right now, good Lord. Lastly, this thing produces a ton of smoke on the control board. You do have PID, which has been the standard for like a long time, but you also have smoke mode. And that is going to give you lots and lots of smoke. We're going to do something crazy today, though. Not only are we going to run it on smoke mode, we are going to put a smoke tube in here. This barbecue might be too smoky. Yeah, you never heard that on a pellet smoker before, have you? All right, let's fire her up. I'm going to hold down the power button like so. The smoker is now going to turn on, and you do want to leave the door either cracked, open, and then once I hear a fire in the burn pot, I can close it up. But now let's go season the meat. All right, we got a Brisket Point here. And so this should be a 6 to 8 hour smoke. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pat this dry. Might do a little trimming just for the hard fat. Nothing too crazy. All right, now for seasoning, I'm going to be using the All-American SPG. For brisket, you could use half salt, half pepper. This has a little extra for color and for seasoning, so I'm going to crack this open. Just going to pat this in. Flip this over. And you want to make sure you get all sides. So the great thing about the Brisket Point is I think this was maybe 15 bucks. So definitely not bad. And you don't have to buy a full packer to get your brisket fix. Now let's prep the smoker. So I'm going to take our tray, put it right down here. The brisket, I will have, let's see, we'll put it on this rack. So I'm going to take the rack above that, slide it up. So now I have a smoke tube right here. And this is filled with pellets and wood chips. I'm using oak chips, and then we have some pecan pellets. So I'm going to put that right to the side, just like so. And let's get this lid up. So we got our smoke tube going, and I'm going to get our water pan out. All right, now let's get our brisket in, just like that. Now let's close her up. Now on the controller, we are going to go under settings. We're going to go to P setting. Right now it is in PID mode. We are going to change that to smoke mode. And for smoke mode, we're going to go crazy. We're going to go P7. That is going to deliver the maximum amount of smoke possible. Now the temperature is going to fluctuate a little bit, and that helps produce all that smoke. Totally fine. I'm in no rush. I want this brisket to turn out smoky, super smoky. So now we're going to go under here and under the main temp. All right, let's turn this up to 225. I love that it goes in 5-degree increments. Okay, now it says heating to 225. We just let this thing bathe in smoke about 2 hours. I'm actually going to run to the movies right now with family. I have the Pit Boss app. I can monitor it. But yeah, this smoker is awesome at literally just setting it, forgetting it. And so we'll check back after we get back from the movies.
Many hours later.
All right, we are back. It's been 4 hours. Just got back from the movie theater. Then we went out shopping, so it took a little bit longer than expected. But cool thing is I can hop on the app, monitor temps, and she's been pinned at 225. The smoke tube has been going. This smoker's been going in smoke mode, so this is a ton of smoke. We were about a block away from the house, and you could just smell all that smoky barbecue goodness. The backyard smells so good right now. So now let's open up the smoker and see where we're at. All right, there we are. There is our brisket, and we have our smoke tube. That is still smoking away. All right, let's do a temperature check right now. 153, 154. All right, now I'm going to spritz this brisket down. Now we're gonna close her back up. All right, so we're just gonna let her keep doing her thing. We're not gonna change the temp. Just gonna let her bathe in more smoke, and we'll check back in about an hour. All right, it's been another hour. Spritz this down. We'll go another hour. And then after that, we'll probably wrap it. So, sweet. We will tune back in 1 hour. All right, that is beautiful. Really liking the color on that bark. So let's get this wrapped up. Man, that is some beautiful color there. Okay, we're gonna put that in like so. A temperature probe. Got the probe in. We're gonna close her up. Now it is the home stretch. I did turn it back to PID mode. Don't really care about smoke flavor right now just because we have her wrapped. And now it's the home stretch. I did crank up the temperature to about 275, and we're gonna let her run till she is probe tender, which is usually in the ballpark of around 200. So we'll tune back then. Time to pull the brisket. Let's see what we are working with here. Oh man. All right, we are going to seal her up. We're gonna let her rest for about an hour, and then we will carve in. All right, since we only did the brisket point, I have the brisket actually resting in the Drip Easy tray, and this is also going to act as a cutting board, and you can basically let your brisket rest in here. Again, this is the mini one, but for a brisket point, it is the perfect size. So now, let's carve in. All right. Let's get this. Oh, man. Let's carve in here. You can see right here, look at that smoke ring on there. Mm-mm-mm. All right, time for the taste test. I'm supposed to be telling you what this tastes like. I'm too preoccupied actually eating the brisket. Wow. Smoke flavor is out of this world. If I could change anything, I would have kept it in the smoker a little bit longer, but I was trying to hit dinner time. But I ain't complaining, man. This is good. So now let's check out the smoker and see what we need to clean up. For this rack, I can move it back right here. For the smoke tube, I can pull this out. Probably actually just dump the ash on here. Put that away. The rendered fat, drippings, whatnot. Can throw that away. Probably no harm in dumping this water. Okay, put the water pan back in. I can dump the burn pot. And I'm going to put some fresh pellets back in here. For those that don't know what that's about, that will actually give us a quicker startup time. And that's it. Now they do make a cover available for this. I'm just waiting for Lowe's to have it in stock. Other than that, if you have any questions about this specific smoker, I'd be happy to answer it for you. This was my first time using smoke mode and a smoke tube, so definitely was a big game changer in delivering awesome smoke flavor. This thing is amazing at the long overnight low and slow cooks. The convenience is just letting it run. You get to hang out with the family, check out the movies, get a good night rest, and you can pretty much trust this to take care of the heavy lifting. I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Grill Sergeant out. Cheers. Man, that Texas heat. In fact, it's so hot in Texas, I don't even have to turn my smoker on. Just that natural radiating heat cooks the food. It's a miracle. Catch you later.